gas. No support in the bird, but it don't make me mad. Hit my bro for a feet, he ain't hit me back. Why? Call Manny up, bet he hit.
All right, welcome to Pittsburgh Chatter, where I do interviews where I want, whenever I want, with who I want. And today I had to bring in my brother, my blood, one of the people I can communicate and talk about whatever with. So a lot of people don't know you, and I know you, so this is going to be very easy for me. So let's start from the beginning, because you grew up more or less around Belsuver, and I wasn't really around that much because I was younger, so I don't really remember a lot. So talk about that. We'll start at Belsuver for you. Go ahead. What's Belsuver like?
Well, Belsuver, like, I want to talk base, like, on, before it was considered, like, this very, very black and, like, bougie kind of, like, part of the city, but it's really not like that. Mm-hmm. I feel like that, like, when our mom was growing up, like, it was definitely family based. It was definitely, like, not rich black folks, but working class black folks. These people were getting out, and every day. So I was brought. So I think that was brought back. I don't want to go too deep, but just Belsuver was just fun. Belsuver, like, there was always something going on in Belsuver.
So where was the first house that you lived at? Because this is when I wasn't alive.
So
what was it called? Mom always talks about it all the time.
Yeah, so we weren't brought to 101. We weren't brought to 108 Chalfont Street. We weren't brought there.
Yeah, 108, because that's where Grandma lived at the
time.
Because you got to meet her. I didn't get to meet Grandma.
So, but I don't. Like, she met me.
Nah, bro, you got to meet her.
I didn't meet. I know. I don't like.
Yeah,
she met me. I didn't meet her. I don't even remember her face and anything. So, but we were brought to. See, this is going to be a question. This is going to be a question for Mom. This is going to be a question for Mom, because I don't remember the street, but I do remember spending a lot of time on 108 Chalfont Street. Mm-hmm. It was funny. It was funny because I used to tell people like, we can have a TV, but at 108 Hellstrom we had a TV.
We had compared, like, at that period of time, our TV was huge.
Yeah,
like
we had actually had two TVs. We had like an old, like I'm talking about, like old 70s, almost 70s, 60s TV, and then we got rid of that and we got a new TV. But I feel like that when we were living, we had McKinley Park right up the street. Mm-hmm. Then you would, every year Belsuver has Belsuver Community Weekend. So that's it's like a 3 or 2 day weekend. Mm-hmm. Living in Belsuver is just like, it's really family. It's really about family, and it's really about, like, good time and good vibes.
Yeah, because one thing I vaguely remember is a lot of the events, like Belsuver's Community Day, going to family cookouts. Like, I was just thinking about her the other day, because, like, Aunt Dot was real prevalent, like, during our time over there. She was real cool. The mac and cheese was fire. Just there's so many Aunt Dawn. Like, there's so many people that played a huge role, especially when Dad left. So first, let's start out about Belsuver, and then we'll dive into a little bit about that.
So I think the one thing I love about Belsuver is that Belsuver, like I said, is family oriented. Mm-hmm. It is, what I'm saying. You can go up the street. You got an aunt. And you can go down the street, you got an uncle. Mm-hmm. It's very much, it was very much at a time and a place where.
But that's where you went to Belsuver Elementary School.
Yeah,
what preschool?
So, I don't really remember my preschool. So I started at Waldorf. Waldorf. Mm-hmm. For kindergarten, I started at Waldorf. We had 2 years of kindergarten. Mm-hmm. So, and for people who don't know, is that I was a low-key, the only black kid in the school. Mm-hmm. So
Waldorf there was like a bougie vegan type vibe. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So there were two other children of color. So I was the only completely black. There were two other kids who were biracial, and there was another kid who was Indian.
So to them, you're a trench baby.
Right.
That's not even your personality.
Yeah. So I was just like, I was a bully. Like, I was just a bully. I would bully, like, I would just act out because I wasn't. I think that I would act out because I was not surrounded by the kids You know, it wasn't
usually
right. Like,
yeah.
and when you went, and so I was just like bullying other kids, pushing kids off of stilts, just being reckless.
Nonsense. Well, one thing I do want to say is like, because definitely when Dad was around, we were spoiled rotten. Like,
Yeah,
you don't sit here and lie. We was spoiled rotten. So as kids, I see how you may have got there and acted like that. All right, so then you went to Waldorf and then you went to Belsuver Elementary. So talk about that a bit.
So I went to let me think. So I went to Waldorf. I went from Waldorf from kindergarten to first grade, and I went to from the rest of my first grade and second grade, I went to Miller African Considered Academy.
So I thought you graduated from 5th grade.
I graduated, yes.
5th grade.
Yes, but
then we went to Miller.
So went to Miller, but then I went to River Valley, which was
slow down.
Yeah.
Because let's dive into a little bit of the Miller. So you graduated from Belsuver. How did you feel about Belsuver? Did you like that school as a whole? Because school's technically extinct now. Right. So how did you feel about going to that school? Because I went there for kindergarten, but again, we all know, like, my whole life is the Hill. Yeah. Like, preschool, I was at Lecce, the Hill. Like, and then I did 1 year of Belsuver. Then I'm back on the Hill at Miller. Like, right. So that's why I'm saying that, like, the Hill's my whole life. So that's why I was asking you. So you go to Miller. Talk about Miller a little bit. Yeah.
I went from Miller from first grade to second grade, half of second grade. And Miller was great. Miller is like one of Afrocentric school, and they practice we would do drum circle in the mornings. You would do Harambe. Lift every voice. Exactly. You do the first verse of the Negro National Anthem, and then you do libation. And people don't know libation is. Anytime anybody, just think of it, anytime anybody in the hood, instead of pouring alcohol, you will pour water. So you're just pouring for the ancestors. You're pouring for, But anyway, Miller was great.
Before you finish, though, which a lot of people don't realize is, like, we were doing that on the day, on the daily basis. It was to the point, like, once you come from another school and come to Miller, it's kind of foreign to you, and to us, it's just so normal. Yeah. And I miss doing that versus just doing the little, what is it? A pledge allegiance to the flag. Yeah. Like, we did that, I think, but we did also lift every voice and sing. You said, like, the drum single, the Harambe, we did all of that. And to have that in a school at that age kind of shaped us in a different way. Mm-hmm. Although one thing I do want to say about Miller is a lot of people there were hypocrites, because we're going to an Afrocentric school, and me and Kaceem, a lot of people don't know this, but we're not African. No. Everybody thought we were African. No. We're Jamaican and American, and my mom's from the hood. Like, I don't think people... Yes, she raised up out of the hood, and she does not give hood type tendencies. Yeah,
we were just raised. I think that people got it mixed up, like the way we talk and the way we conduct ourselves. Even the way we eat hummus, baba ganoush. Right. We were just raised. I hate to say this, and I hate to be this way. We were just raised right. Yeah. I was just going to put it out there. We were raised right. And we weren't raised bougie. We were raised in the hood. We were just raised to respect our elders. We were raised to you know what I'm saying? They're not like and people want to put proper on it. It's not proper. It's just we was raised right. I'm just going to keep it like that. So if we're going to go that route, then is it safe to say that do you feel like some people were hypocrites in Miller, or you don't feel that way at all? I feel like in Miller, I feel like I wouldn't say that people were hypocrites. I don't feel like that way. I feel like that in Miller there were a lot of just Afrocentric. There were a lot of Afrocentric people. There were a lot of just black folks from the hood just wanted black kids to grasp for their culture, and that's what Miller was given.
Okay, so I know it's probably very hard for you to talk about Miller when it was such a long time ago. So what I do want to ask is, we also were in a program that Mom kept us in that would take care of our homework, because my mom was busy. We'll talk about Mom a little later, but she was busy with work, so we would go from school to Capoeira, and at this time we already knew how to catch. Like, by this time, going into what? every
But
year,
I was going to Belsuver. I was going to Belsuver when we did Capoeira. But
yeah, but I'm still saying though, you would come in and we would leave together, and we were at this age. I'm not mistaken. We were catching the bus by ourselves.
Mm-hmm. I was about 10,
And then you would take me to Belsuver. Yeah. So all right. So we're catching the bus by ourselves, but Capoeira. I love Capoeira. I love Nego Gato. I love dancing or Risha and stuff like that. So I would like for you to dive into like how that made you feel, a little bit of that.
Well, I don't want to get it without getting into deep, but
just talk about the dance.
Yeah. So we were both part of Nego Gato's children's ensemble, and I did it from 4th grade to about 5th grade. And Nego Gato Children's Ensemble was super lit. If anybody was a part of Nego Gato Children's Ensemble, you already know. So from learning capoeira to the beginning, when you first started in Nego Gato, you learned capoeira. It's kind of boring. It's not exciting. But when we got to learn Brazilian drumming and Brazilian songs and the dances for the Orishas, it was like a whole new moment. I can remember. I'll tell you. I don't know if you were there that day. So, Miss, I think Miss. I don't know. One of our teachers. We were learning a song for one of a goddess by the Yamaja, and so we were trying to sing the song and play at the same time, and she was trying I think it was Miss Meyer. I think I saw her name. I can't remember. But anyway,
shout out to all the old teachers. I only know I remember a few. There was one that threw a shoe. What was her name?
Oh, Miss Shamaya.
Miss Shamaya threw a shoe at me. I love her. I seen her maybe 3 years ago. I didn't remember who she was. Shout out to Brother Arbor. Shout out to Bob Justin. All those people.
Absolutely.
All right, bro. See Richard.
But so we were learning the song for Yamaja, and we were trying to sing and play this because the rhythm went dun 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 dun, and so we were trying to sing at the same time. We couldn't get it. We couldn't sing. We couldn't play the beat and sing the same. Anyways, so she was just like, "Stop." We went da 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 da. Yamaja. So
no, I do remember that. But a lot of people, you're giving this facade that it was easy, and
no, it was not.
The amount of me and Kaceem would practice not only at home. We would practice because we would go to the grown Nego Gatos, and we would be practicing sometimes with them. So I'm just working on my craft all the time. It was safe to say at that period of time in my life, I was a beast at capoeira. I was phenomenal. I was phenomenal at all the dances I did and everything. So for the people that understand what capoeira is, I want you to explain it a little bit, and then I'll explain the reshore a little bit, and then I'll piggyback.
So capoeira is a African Brazilian martial art. The short answer is that it was it's a dance, and it's a dance that enslaved Africans they kind of they did to disguise that they were actually doing martial arts, and they did it in the times in the times where people were trying to escape from slavery and to protect themselves. So if you want to know, if anybody wants to know anything more, research capoeira, research the history of capoeira.
Yeah. And then Risha are more like forces of nature, more like God entities. A similar comparison would be like the Greek god Zeus. And I don't know all the Greek gods, but I would say even Egyptians culture.
Yeah, that. But I would say if you ever seen Storm, Storm is sometimes people will say that from X-Men. Some people will say that Storm is equivalent to Oya. So.
There's certain similarities that, if we had the time, we could piece together and explain to you guys. Okay, so we talked about Miller and the role that played in your life. Okay, so it's safe to say after Miller, things got a little difficult for you, correct?
After Miller, I went to.
You said Riverdale.
I went to River Valley.
Oh, River Valley. I said Riverdale's a show.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Go ahead.
You're good. I went to River Valley. And things was still tough. I was still kind of It was the same. It was literally the same group of kids from kindergarten. Because they went to, they stayed at, they stayed at Waldorf. Yeah, they stayed at Waldorf, and then they went to River
Just
Valley.
sound white.
Right.
All of these sound.
So, and I'll tell you how white it is. I just have to be honest. We like playing with stilts, like I said before, and also playing with like scarves and stuff. And then also they introduced us to like gnomes, and we're talking about gnomes and fairies.
Right.
Right. So it was definitely very that. But so when we went to River Valley, I was still like trying to, I guess, figure out who I was, and as a young black kid, and I was still in
the hood.
Right.
It's weird going. I know it was weird for you going from the hood, and then you're going to these like white schools where all these.
So anyways, when I went to River Valley, I was still cutting up, still not, not getting it. I had cut up. What happened? So I'm saying the story, how I ended up leaving that school. I got into it with just a teacher who was not the greatest. But what happened was he took a hat. I'm always wearing my hats, and he took my hat and he was doing stuff like this, pulling the hat up, just being petty and just being childish,
being a hater.
Right. So I was just I was fighting for my hat, and that's just how I think that after that. Mom took me out of that school, and then I went to
Colfax.
I went to Bell Super.
Oh, you went to Bell Super?
Well, I went to Bell Super because I went to Bell Super to finish out my because I went there from 3rd to 4th grade, and then Bell Super I finished out my 4th and then 5th grade.
Okay.
And then Colfax.
Okay. So talk about Colfax a little bit, because one thing I do remember that. Colfax again was like it was like Waldorf, but a little more black people were there than it would normally be in like Waldorf and River Valley. And I do remember the book Sherry went to used to try to beg mom to get this Captain Underpants. She wasn't really banging with that until I got my own money to do it. So talk about Colfax a little bit, and then we'll dive into the main.
Colfax was when Colfax humbled me. Colfax, like, because there was other black kids there. And just all these different, personalities, Colfax really was just like, oh, I'm not that guy anymore. Mm-hmm. I became more quiet. I became more like reserved, and that's when like I don't want to say bullying, but I do want to say bullying and teasing started. Mm-hmm. Like because we're all working on ourselves. I'm continuing to work on myself because I was like, I'm gonna be honest, I was very effeminate at a point. And so people see that, and it was like, oh, they immediately like, oh, he's
and
gay.
You're quiet.
I'm quiet. Immediately it was just like, it's like I said, he's gay, and I had to continue to say, I'm not gay, blah blah blah, and then on top of that, I was not, I can read and things like that, but my reading is much better now, and my math things was much better now than it is then. So on top of that, it was just like, oh no.
Well, do you want to dive into why that is, or
so we can go to back in when I had seizures when I was younger.
Well, it's called epilepsy, and I know that it's more prevalent than people know. Yeah. There's a couple people I know now that have it that were technically like had in it, and there's levels to it. Some people can read it right, but some people have seizures, and some people have seizures but can't. There's different things that go into it. So I just wanted to talk about that a little bit. Yeah. And like I said, you've overcame that. Yeah. So again, proceed.
Yeah. So when I was younger, I had seizures, and it came out that our dad had on his family side, he had had seizures as well, but it kind of, what happened was is like you see words and on the paper, and you kind of like mix them up. Mm-hmm. So I seizures when I was younger, and then the summer one, I don't know what the year or the date, but all I know is I had stopped taking my medicine. I was just like, I'm not taking this anymore because what happened is when I would take Tegretol, I would be very sleepy, very drowsy, just couldn't focus sometimes. Bedwetting, you know what I'm saying? All of these things occur.
And these are some things that I would notice is because it would be like, I knew you for like your whole life, and then like there would be instances, and now I'm kind of aware when I was young, it would be like you weren't as like chipper and up, and I would kind of nag you and mess with you, and you'd just be like, please leave me alone. Like you would be real like subtle with it, and I had no clue. Like I'm not aware of this. I know you have seizures. I know like mom trained me to if Kaceem's going through this or you hear this, come get me, da-da-da-da. So I was trained to know, but I didn't really have any clue. So, all right, you tap back into that.
Yeah, but anyways,
back in the Colfax.
But there were some good moments at Colfax. Mm-hmm. It wasn't all teasing. It wasn't all bad. Like there were some, I had, was a part of, I would take drum classes. I was really good in I was learning Spanish, and I was, getting fluent in Spanish there. I had some really good teachers there. I had there was a contest where, what happened was our teacher wanted, we wrote a book of poetry, and they wanted us to come up with a front page for the book, and everyone had to come up with a front page for the book, and whoever had the best picture would get the front page of the book, and I won that. So Colfax was great.
See, and this is what I want to dive into, because like I said, again, I visited Colfax, and I seen the kids up there, and like compared to the schools I was going to, like, because I'm still at Miller, then I went from Miller to McKelvey, and then I was at Arsenal. Compared to the schools compared to the schools, I didn't see nobody in Colfax that even gave me the notion that they would even act like that at any other school. I'm sorry, no disrespect, but none of them. Everyone
those were good kids.
Good boy, I kiss you on your forehead.
There's always one. But there was one kid, and he, I don't know where he is today, and I hope he's alright, but he threw tantrums. Like, this kid would throw chairs, tables. He made one of our Spanish teachers, he made her cry because he hid her phone in the cupboard, and she was calling, and she couldn't find it. And it was just a mess. It was just really bad.
Somebody wasn't getting attention. I know. But okay, moving on for that. Okay, so you go from the Colfax, and that was all through your middle school, and then you're going into high school. Oh my God. Everybody I talked to that was able to go to Schenley, I fucking hate. Because listen, let me tell you guys here. Anybody that grew up on the hill knew if you could, you was going to Schenley. That was my goal, to go to Schenley, and I had talked about it through so many years. And then, because you were 5 years ahead of me, right?
Yeah.
You graduated 2000.
I graduated 2011.
Yeah. So, and I graduated 2014. So the year that I would be going into would have been the last year. So I guess it wouldn't have worked out. But anyways, you got to go to one of the most poppin'est schools in the world. So first of all, talk about some situations that you dealt with there, but also talk about how prevalent it was to be able to go to Schenley, one of the biggest schools. And I don't know why it shut down, because in the will, it literally says Schenley has to be used for a school. So no shade, but go. Please talk about it.
So we were living in Garfield. Mm-hmm. We were about to move out of Garfield and move to the hill.
We'll come back to Garfield.
But anyways,
yeah.
And I, getting into Schenley was like, I feel like I can say this now, was iconic. Like, I feel like that getting into like when I was definitely like ninth grade, you're nervous, you know what I'm saying? But when I found out that there were other people, there were some people I went to Belsuver went to Schenley. That was cool. There was also people that I went to Colfax went that were in. I was like, okay, good. I'm not alone.
All around school.
But I remember going to my first high school party at Schenley.
Oh, so you just going to fuck the classes, fuck everything.
Right,
Just the party.
yeah.
Go ahead.
And just being like, coming home, telling them all, yo, it was so much fun. Like, I had the best
time. You taught me how to dance. I don't know if you noticed.
Right, but my first part, I was in the corner. Because, like, it was mostly like 10th grade, 11th grade. And I feel like I was maybe the only 9th grade. Maybe there were a few other 9th graders there, but I was the only 9th grader there. Let me tell you.
This when Mom had got you the brown?
Yeah, it was a brown.
Ooh, I was jelly.
It was a brown shirt and then like a brown
fresh
hat. Of course. You know, the thing is about the Hill. Is the Hill and Schenley, and people from that go to Schenley. These people know how to dress. I remember. Anyways, I was about to say something, but I was going to say, I remember when Air Force Ones were a thing, and I had these yellow uncle. Anyways, one of our uncles got us these Air Force Ones, and they were black and they were black and yellow
and white.
And I was sad. Anyways, we'll move forward, but I think that also one thing I'll also say about Schenley is that it was global.
What was it called? It was there was a word that they used for it. What was it?
International.
Yeah.
So it was international. I was part of an international club there. Just being half Jamaican.
But go back to the party. Go back to your.
The party.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, the party was the best time of the party, and this was back when we're talking about people like Lil Wayne was popping.
So in 2000, this was 2000, what, like 8?
Maybe
2008. Yeah. So I don't even think I was still at Arsenal probably. All right, go ahead.
So this was like when everybody there was I just remember there was a stage. And everybody was up on the stage with the DJ and just having a good time and just enjoying themselves. And people were dressed to the nines. It was so much fun. I came back, and even though I might have been in the corner chilling, just bobbing my head, I still had fun. Mm-hmm. So, and as things gone on, I didn't have a whole bunch of friends, but the core friends that I did have, I'm still friends with these people.
Which
today.
Makes no fucking sense to me how you weren't popular, because it's just you come home and you're more popular than me in the household, and then we go places to the conscious community. You're more popular than me. We go to all these other places, but then it's at school you're not popular. It made no sense to me.
I think that what happened was because because I was in special classes or whatever. I think that
that
separated me from everyone else. Now, I did take a history class. I did take one of my history classes, and I think they had to fight for me to get my mom had to fight for me to get in that class because they was I love history and I love learning about history and stuff like that. Now, granted, I only was in that class for one semester because it was an advanced class. So, but
tell me about walking through the hallways. What was that the gym? The people.
Well, first of all, it's a huge school. Before they moved it over here, we're not going to talk about that.
Yeah.
But before they moved it over here and said there was asbestos and all this stuff, but it was just a huge school it was almost the architecture in the school was just amazing. For everything, the gym, it was just
I used to have dreams about going to Schenley. You have no idea.
and just just knowing all of the iconic people that went to Schenley and graduated from Schenley.
You were in a play, correct? Were you in a play?
I wasn't in a play. I mean, I went to, and that's another thing.
Oh, we went together.
Right.
Okay.
Shenley's basketball team, Shenley's football team. There's nothing to play with. Their theater squad, nothing to play with.
One thing I do want to talk about is because I did get to play for Schenley 1 year. I played at Schenley soccer. Shout out to DJ. He was phenomenal. That's Abe's big brother. Phenomenal soccer player. He got to graduate with your class. Was the last class of Schenley. But one thing I want to say about Schenley is like everything that they did was just so huge. They were already big in basketball because of DeJuan Blair and stuff, so that just kind of trickled down. And at the time, I think it was Butt, Artie. Those were some of the more prevalent players at the time. And then, of course, like you said, football. And that's where I want to go. Couple Stadium. You would take, I think I had to beg Mom at first, but then I got to the point where it was normal for you to take me to the Schenley games and we would go together. And again, this is somewhere where you have to come spiffy. It don't matter if it's cold or hot, bro. People are coming to these games clean. And I'm talking about back in the day. Like, this ain't, go ahead.
Yeah. Here's the thing. If I'm sorry if you didn't experience a Schenley game.
I did. I experienced like what, 15.
It doesn't matter what sport you had to experience a Schenley basketball game, football game, whatever.
Definitely, above all though, I've visited basketball. I visited soccer. Nothing like football. Nothing like Schenley football.
The thing is about Schenley is that when you went to Schenley and you were prideful. Everybody there was spirit, team spirit, or whatever. It was just like, it was literally like that football game. We were a family. We was riding hard for. It was
literally the one time it didn't matter who you were. If you was on Schenley's side, everybody was Schenley. Like, and what's crazy is because like, I was, for my age, to be coming to these Schenley games and being as popular as I was. Because, like, sometimes I wouldn't even sit with you. I would go and sit with other people. And then you would have your friends that you're sitting with. But there are times we used to sit together. But I don't know if you remember this. We would separate at times. Just because there were so many people there. Like, there's younger people, older people there. So, that's one thing I want to talk. A couple stadiums just played. I got the honor to play on a couple stadiums for soccer. I got the honor of watching one of the best USO football teams from the sidelines play at a couple stadiums. So there's a lot of memories there. All right. So after you graduate and you're the last graduating class in Schenley.
Thank you.
Okay. And it gets to say it on your diploma. I'm very jealous of that. It's cool though. All right. You weren't working during high school, were you?
During high school, I was working.
What were you doing?
So I was a part of a program called the SOS program, and it's called Starting on Success. And it was a job readiness program. They showed us everything from how to interview to how to apply for a job, and they got me working at.
No, I'm not talking about programs. All right, so we'll skip over that.
Okay.
So then we'll go after till you graduate. Went to school all 12 years just to get a job selling donuts.
Right. So, but this is before. But that's before I was working. I was doing little
vending. You were doing a lot of
vending and stuff like. But I was doing a lot of what do you call it? Like tasks. I don't want to. That's not the word for it. But anyways, I was working for Ujima Collective. Working for Ujima Collective. And and then I was working for the Hill House. But
the like summer jobs and stuff.
Summer jobs. I was babysitting. Listen, we were
hustling.
Like babysitting, vending. We was.
Like, all right, mom got us stuff. I'm not about to say like mom took care of us. Like, we had clothes, we had the good food. Good, you heard me? Eating good.
Absolutely.
Good.
Yes.
Good food. You know what I'm saying? So I don't say that, but mom did tell me like anything outside of that was like we was just gonna have to get that ourselves. Like, so again, you said we were hustling. That's so you did all those tasks, and then I'm guessing.
Then I got a job at Dunkin' Donuts. I was at Dunkin' Donuts for about 3 years.
And I'm talking like, I'm at Sci Tech at this time, right?
Yeah. So I mean, I would see sometimes I would see you in Oakland. Sometimes I would see some of our cousins and stuff.
But no, you were busting your ass.
But yeah, I was there. And you know who got me that job was one of our aunts got a job. She was already working there, and she didn't give me that job, but she was already working, so she kind of talked me up, the reason why I left is because I got into it with a guest. Not physical, but I did cuss at a guest.
But if you've worked at these fast food places, you know how some of these people can be,
and when
especially
I was
about
Oakland,
coffee.
Right.
Oh my God.
And I was in Oakland, and I was on Pitt's campus, and that was intense because these students, like, they come in there, they don't know what they don't, sometimes they don't know what they want, sometimes they don't even know what their order is. It was like confusion. But and then on top of that, my boss was just not the best. You know what I'm saying? And he even said this once. He was like, I can be an asshole. And what happened was I gave him a card or something like that. Like it was like $25 or whatever for his birthday, whatever. And then he gave me, for my birthday, he gave me $50 once. And he was like, I know I can be an asshole at times, but here you go.
That's one thing I always said is like, it can be at a fault sometimes how much giving you actually are. Personally, I understand when it comes to me because I'm actually family. I'm your brother.
Yeah.
But you could be giving out a lot. And that sometimes I understand that like people are close to you. But that's one thing I share a lot, but I had to over time just stop because it's just like people will just take, and they don't even realize they're taking. And then if you choose yourself over them once, it's like a problem.
Yeah.
So after Dunkin' Donuts, we're at this time you're still doing. A lot of people don't know you're very artistic.
Yeah.
You were doing manga early, and I don't even know why you stopped because you were getting good at it.
Yeah.
You do collages, you do clay beads, but at the time you're focusing on collages and clay while still working at Dunkin' Donuts.
At the time, I was working on getting my first art show together.
So you weren't really able to dive into your craft. You're more just putting too many hours into Dunkin'.
No, I was like 12 o'clock in I'm talking about working and working on my art, and into almost 12 o'clock in the morning.
So when did Dunkin' transfer over into you working into after school programs with kids? Because that's where
So I quit. I'd gotten fired from Dunkin', and I kind of got into this, to be honest, I got into this, like, rut in this depressing state. And then...
and I'm on the hill at this time, I'm young. I don't notice this stuff because, like...
Yeah.
I'm like, and when I say this, please don't take it the wrong way. I'm popular in the streets. So, like, I'm having a bunch of friends, a bunch of people... And, like, over time, less and less, I was starting to talk to you. Like, I would come in the house and speak to you, but more or less, it would be like, I didn't want to be bothered. You'd be like, get out my room. That was one of your favorite things to say. Yeah. So I kind of just trolled away from it. But go ahead.
But, so, at that time, I wasn't doing nothing. I was like, I was leaving at 3 o'clock in the evening to go stuff. Like, one time, and Mom was like, "You gotta get out. You gotta get out earlier."
You started going to the library.
Just started I was going to the library all the time. I was just like not living my best life.
Not giving a fuck.
Right. And I had gotten a friend of mine. I almost had a job at Whole Foods. A friend of mine had got me a job, and I messed that up. I was literally like just living in a rut. And then finally, Mom had gotten me a job working at the Cultural Trust. And I started working with the kids. What schools did I work at? I worked at Faison. I worked at Brashear. And where else did I work? At a few other schools. But I started just teaching art to school. When I teaching art to kids, my first time working with kids, Were you ever a camp counselor?
No. Okay, good.
But anyway, it was my first time working with kids.
Was that Faison?
That was Faison. Faison and some other schools. But before that, I had did a project for the Cultural Trust where it was lights on after school. And if anybody knows what that is, that's what it is basically you want the neighbors to keep the lights on after school, and so kids can be safe. So I did a project for them, for the Culture Trust, where I Mod Podge these vases, and they put them downtown. I don't know the street is, but they put them downtown in front of this tall. I don't know if anybody knows downtown. Like there's this like tall building. I can't remember the building it's called. But anyways, I did that. And then from there, I started to teach my own classes, come up with my own lesson plans and stuff like that. But my first lesson plans were horrible. I was literally making takes, and kids were finishing very quickly, and I wasn't making my time. So I didn't start to really get my groove until about my third or second year teaching.
So you were phase on. Then what was after phase on?
So after phase on, I was doing like Brashear, and I was doing like other schools in between.
You get more skilled at it, and this is when you're coming to Propel, correct?
Right, and then by Propel.
Hold on, slow down. What job are you working after this? Because you're still going from schools to schools, but a little people don't know is yes, it's good money, but like you said, it's all about the timing too. So if you're not creating this timing of 3 to 4 hours or anything of that nature, you're not going to be getting the full money that you can get. So I want you to explain. You were also at this time. You saying you were in a rut, but you're bouncing around from these schools. So then, what do you go into? Like, because what's your next like main job? Because this is technically at schools or the side job, correct?
Yeah. So I was working. Then I went from that to Panera Bread. And I was working at Panera Bread, and I was working for Panera Bread and teaching school. So
and making collages on the side for yourself, and making clay beads on the side for yourself, and helping clean the house. Because at the time I was not doing anything of that nature. So
I was getting no. I was getting in that midst of time I was doing all of that, but it became to a point where I was coming up with projects and stuff like that for the kids, but I was not creating for myself. I was not creating beads. I wasn't collaging. I was just focused on getting these projects and things ready for these kids. And then on top of that, I was working at Panera. So it was just like, there was no time for just Kaceem to create. So, I was there. I was at Panera for 5 years, and then finally I was just like, time to do.
Yeah, don't speak about your current job now because you need to be public. But so then we're gonna bounce it back into like the past a little bit once we talked about what you were doing. Okay, so there's the Bell Silver, the Hill, Garfield, and that's it, right?
We were only living in Folsom for like 2 seconds. But yeah.
All right, so talk about Garfield, because again, all these places that we lived at, I had a different experience from you.
Yeah.
Because I could naturally just go out, and I don't know why I was just like bring people around me, be cool with people. Like all it took was, hey, we want to play catch, like stuff like that.
Yeah.
So tell me about that. What was Garfield like for you? And then we can bounce and forth about that.
Garfield was cool. We actually hung out a lot in Garfield, especially during the summertime. We went to. I remember when we lived in Garfield, we would go to the pool and we would go to the library. And it would be, we go to different pools and stuff like that. And then when we would Mom would give us a few dollars for
get that snacker from KFC.
From KFC. So we actually hung out a lot.
How old were you at this time? 16?
Probably no.
Because we're we're catching a bus by ourselves, going to the
Unwood.
We got the Hood Kids Excellence. Where y'all coming from? The pool? And we're at the library? What? How'd y'all go there? The bus? Like, this is normal for us because we've been doing this since we were kids. Like, since it was $1.10 to get on the bus. But go ahead.
So I don't know I'm not going to say their names, but I remember in the Pacific time there was this one kid. Poor kid. But
I know where this story is.
So we was coming back from the library, and this kid was on her bike or whatever, and they said to us, was the library free? And I was just like, yikes.
Some people really don't know. Like, you can't salt them for that. You don't know.
You're right.
This is when the East Liberty Library was terrible.
Yeah.
So bad.
The East Liberty Library everybody was in that library. Everybody. We're talking about
Before it
homeless
was nice.
people. We're talking about like just everybody.
Way before it was
right,
nice.
right.
It was
right
trash.
now they have it more better. But before it was bad. But living in Garfield was fun. Like I
You went, and another thing you left out is you went to Arsenal for like a week.
I went to Arsenal for a week and then was out and then finally again with the Colfax.
Arsenal.
Yeah, I knew I would probably not survive. No offense to Arsenal and people who went there, but Arsenal almost felt like a jail.
Well, I barely survived there.
Fucking nice.
But yeah, okay. So the reason why I asked you to talk about Garfield is because we went through a lot. Like we went through more or less. All right. So what was this? What was this street called? Columba. Yeah, Brick Road. We had people break into our houses. I'm not gonna say no names, but they know who they are. We had I had fell out with some friends over there. That's where I had reconnected with Sam. It was just a lot of good memories there. But then let's talk about the Hill, because once we actually moved to the Hill, we're on Cliff Street, and like it's safe to say Cliff was so different. Like, of course there was violence. Of course people were getting shot at. People were getting jumped. The normal hood activities. But Cliff as a whole, like I talked about it with Trey. We had Trey, Maya, India, Arn, Rainey, Yamie, Quentin, Brittany.
We had that was the first time I actually like.
That was Lincoln.
Right,
that street was Bub, Nate.
Yeah.
That street was Sasha and them up the street. What was the other names? Oh, I forget their names. But they were up the street. Icy Ladies, the store lady. We're living on a Amon. Rest in peace to Amon. Damien. Like, we're living on a street where it is so popular that kids from all over the Hill were coming down here. So talk about what you're, because you weren't outside a lot, but you did come outside late sometimes.
But when I did come outside, it was just popping. Like Cliff Street, like everybody was cool, everybody was friends. Like there was not
when those baby kids wasn't around, everybody was kosher.
But what I'm saying is like I was the first time I felt like, oh, I really have friends and I don't have to be out. I don't have to be lonely. I don't have to be doing things by myself because everybody made you feel like one.
How Cliff was, it was like, even if people didn't bang with you, it was like they're still going to speak. Right. Like they're still going to try to, like, they wanted to make you feel comfortable. Mm-hmm. And I remember I was hanging out with the guys that were like your age and I'm kind of the younger, and then I got the younger kids hanging with me. So I just know it was just a great time to really experience that part of the Hill. So like you said, because you weren't playing basketball, but you would come outside and we used to sit in front of Ma's house and talk and chat.
We used to race. We used to do. I remember. I did play football. Let me tell you the story. So we were playing football. It was me, Quentin, and just I think all
he's not very good at sports, but swimming he's a killer swimmer.
Anyway, it was all his cousins,
probably Tyler,
right? All of those people. So his cousin was like
Darren.
No, not him. He had a bulky or like a
Tyler.
Yeah, Tyler. Him. We're playing football, and Tyler's coming this way, and I'm coming this way. Tyler's coming this way, and Tyler right on the ground knocks me right clear on the ground. I've never been knocked out of my I feel like my whole spirit jumped out of my body that day.
Well, that's called pop. I think we were playing pop.
Yeah, but Cliff was fun. Cliff was fun until it wasn't.
And then I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know how it happened, and I always say, Quentin, when you see this, I'm kind of mad at you because he has said it, and it wasn't really him that made the street poppin'. I don't want to say it was him that made the street poppin', but he played like a 75% role in it somehow. Because he was even popular when I went to Miller. It was like him and Rob were the most popular people in their school, and then there was these two other girls, which I'm not going to name drop, but they know who they are. They were the most popular, and I think that each of them dated separately, if I'm not mistaken. But either way, He said, once I leave this street, it's not going to pop as much. Correction. It's popped for like maybe, a year? Maybe less, a couple months after that. Then it just was dead for some reason.
Because what happened was like when people started to move out.
Mm-hmm. And then you graduated, right. And then everybody else graduated. So it was like
we were on our way to move into Morgan. Mm-hmm. So from there, it was just like,
and he connected the dots with everybody, kind of, sort of.
Like when I tell you that everyone was everyone wanted to just be like, when we wasn't outside, we was in Quentin's house.
Yeah,
and
his mom used to get hot at us,
right?
And now I'm older, I understand completely. Niggas up in your crib every day, you getting off work, and I get it completely. So shout out to Q Ball, shout out to Q Ball. So all right, Cliff. Kind of in that. Now we move to Morgan. Terrible house. Terrible. The best placement to be in the Hill because it's like sort of quiet. How did you feel about Morgan? Like, of course, don't dive too deep into it because we're not going to give them all the sauce. But talk about Morgan a little bit. Yeah, well,
Morgan. Actually, I felt like I created some of my best work there. Like I created a lot of my. I'll tell you one thing. I created a lot of, to dive back just a little bit back to Cliff. I created a lot of my best work at Cliff Street. It was me
listening to the radio, calling
in. It was me, and I was actually listening to CDs and stuff, but it was me and Mom upstairs in that cold. All of the art rooms I've ever worked in have been cold for some reason. I don't know why, but in the attic, because my room was here and then our room was there.
Do you know I totally forgot about that art room? Because I guess was never in there.
So that I feel like I created some of the best artwork. I had got in touch with Bobby Amir. Shout out to Bobby Amir. He's my mentor. He gave me paper. He gave me supplies. He gave me like 50s and 70s. Yeah, 50s and 70s. Jet magazines, Ebony magazines, and just like I literally created some of my best. I feel like my best work at Cliff.
I ain't gonna lie, when you were at Cliff, you did not want to be bothered. First of all, nobody wanted to climb them stairs to come up to your room all the time after climbing the first set.
Yeah.
You used to hate me going to your room up in there. And I'm not even gonna lie to you. You had some of the, because like I send some of the songs you put me on now. It's like some of the Brandy I listen to. Mm-hmm. Some of the songs I just listen to now is like a lot of Monica you were listening to back then, like a lot. And yeah. Okay, but back to Morgan. You said you were creating some of your best work.
But also Morgan, I was creating some of my best work because Morgan, I had gotten, but there was two events. There was an event that I had to get prepared for. If some people may or may not remember the Shallow Lounge, but the Shallow Lounge was right down here in East Liberty, and it was like a club where African American people, all people from around the world, could go there and do poetry and do different things. I did a show there, and then before that I did a show at the Montage over in where the Eastern food court and all that is. And I did the show over there with Baba Amir, and so. The Hill, I want to say the Hill was where collage and my love for collage came alive.
Okay. And like I said, you're a phenomenal collage artist. You're not going to get the respect you need, and that's crazy because like I've seen a lot of artwork, and you're definitely top tier. Some of the things you created, even creating with the kids. All right, but we didn't talk about Mom and Dad enough, so we're gonna dive a little bit into this. Mm-hmm. All right. So we knew Mom all our life. We knew Dad for a period of time, and the period of time that we did know him, it was a wonderful experience. And when I say spoiled, like I'm talking, like I don't know why he's trying to make it seem like we wasn't, because we were extremely spoiled. So talk about Dad and how it was for you at that age as a kid with Dad around, and then we'll dive into like how Mom.
Yeah. So with our dad, it was definitely fun. We for those who don't know, our dad is a musical artist. Polymetric. He does reggae music, dance hall music. But anyway, we did so many different things. We went to Juneteenth events together. We went to go see I remember going to see Romeo.
Every Spy Kids.
Yeah. So
Spy Kids.
like, yeah, mom took us to Spy Kids, and we went to see we went to see all the Spy Kids. Movies.
Kennywood every year.
Kennywood.
Florida.
Florida. Because mom worked at the library.
Hold on, that's what we're going.
Oh, again, okay. But with dad, we did so many things. We weren't supposed to, but we went to the I don't know if you remember this, but we went to the horse races and stuff like that.
Good job.
The track, and it was always.
Yeah, Dad would gamble on the track. But one thing I wanted to touch into is like our birthdays and our
they both
Christmas.
happen.
My mom celebrated Kwanzaa. Dad celebrated Christmas / Kwanzaa. So we would get like 2 sets of gifts. Like we would get stuff from our mom and have people bring us stuff to mom's. Then we would go up Dad's. Dad was like, Mom was saying she would have to give away some of our toys and stuff because we would just have too much stuff. And then granted at the time we didn't have a TV at Mom's house, but then we would be up Dad's watching Cartoon Network until our eyes rolled. My dad had a gumball machine for me. I had a big wheel, got stolen. I had, and this is shout out to Brick Akeem. He lived right across the street from us when my dad lived in Belsuver. So I had a big wheel. Our bikes got stolen. Like I just remember a lot, but I do remember Dad like looking out for us heavy. Always a new rental we were in. He let me drive. I banged out when I was a kid. You banged out too. We both banged out.
We might have, yeah.
But anyways, yeah, so Dad was very prevalent. And then we talk about my mom, and they say women can't raise a man, but shit, tell my mom that, because she raised 2 phenomenal men. And I'm gonna give her credit, because, again, just, all right, go ahead, talk about mom a little bit, and then I'll give my full share.
Yeah, Mom, listen, we had some fun times with Mom too. We would go because our mom worked at the library. We would get in for free. We were getting for free 2 places. We were getting for free at the museum and the Museum of Natural History, and then I think we also got into the museum. What's it called? We got into free into most of all the museums in Pittsburgh, and just like we would go to the what was it called, the book crawl or something like the art crawl, and we would go to movies out in the park. That's when we seen Harry Potter.
Movies on the park. Mom just like made sure that we were always
like Kwanzaa events. And
it was weird because it's like we're in the hood, but we're not living like we're in the hood. We're eating like not vegetarian food because my mom cooked chicken and stuff, but we're eating like healthy food.
Sleek.
We're not getting a bunch of sugary gushers. We're not none of that. We're going to, like you said, movies in the park, the museum, the library. She's taking us to Florida. Like my mom's doing some of this. She had help with when Dad was around, but majority she was doing this by herself. Of course, it was Uncle Joe, Uncle Thomas, Uncle Jason, Aunt Lucille, Aunt Dawn, a few. And I know I'm going to be missing names. I apologize. But there was a lot of people that helped tap in, help her do some things. But majority, like, let's be real. Once Dad left, the amount of help sunk. Like the amount of help that Mom got sunk, and she was. And I remember being with her at the museum because I had to write a essay when I was like 6th, 7th grade for the Peace on Earth. Was it the Peace on Earth award? Because I won a couple awards. Anyways. I think that's what it was, and I wrote a paper on the Buffalo Soldiers. And the whole time I'm doing this, like up late night, I'm watching my mom because she helped with the Teenie Harris collection. I'm watching my mom just work so hard. Like we didn't even leave out of there until this when I'm in 6th grade. We didn't leave out until 1 a.m. She's there all night. Then we have to deal with her creating Ujima Collective, which I apologize if this offends anyone, but my mom is the original creator and founder of Ujima Collective. And I apologize to anyone that feels some type of way, but y'all were not there when she was writing that business plan. And there was days we had to cook on our own. There was days, Mom, are you cooking? Mom, are you doing this? And she's just because she was so far ahead and seeing what it's become now and what had what it has done in the community, she was just so far ahead. So I didn't really understand at the time what she was doing. But she was working so hard from the museum, from Ujima Collective, from schools. And it's kind of hard to follow up my mom's...
After this, that's probably if you can, that's probably the conversation I think they have on.
What? It's hard to follow up mom. She's known in the community. She has ample degrees. Like, my mom's, like, it's crazy. Y'all really don't know she from the hood. Like, it's crazy to me. Like, she gives that persona of the hood ain't me, but I've seen it pop out a couple times.
But
go ahead.
Definitely.
She was a hard worker.
But we definitely had some fun and good times with, I feel like, both of our parents. But I feel like that we definitely had, it was different moments. And
so what did you think about mom working so hard on Ujima Collective and things of that nature? Like, because you do remember how bad it was. Like, there was when she was creating this.
I think I looked at it differently because I was.
You saw the vision.
I was just like, there's going to be something amazing. There's going to be something great to come out of this, and I think that it because things, to be honest, things kind of started in Bell Super. She when I was on the stoop talking about beads for sale at the age of I don't even know how old I was. Just hustling, and then that transpired into the family business. And then that transpired into her own business.
And that's one thing I'll say. She always brought us in. She brought us in Ujima Collective. Right. When she went in, she was like, "Oh, Kaceem can sew beads. I can make my anklets and bracelets." She always brought us in and taught us how to hustle, so that there would be no excuse to be like, "Oh, he can't do this. He can't make money." We learn skills to where it's like, if push come to shove, we both know how to use.
And every weekend, we all be in the studio creating more beads, more collages, more jewelry. There
used to be days we were all sitting in mom's room just creating. Like, people have no idea of this. Like, there was days like I could really choose to go outside and do something, and it was like I want these forces, I want this Pele, I want this Rockaware, I want this Jordan. Like, so I'm gonna sell these anklets. Like,
and it was so. And another thing is it was so peaceful and so zen in mom's house.
She would play some nice little music.
Right. But like, not just the music, but like burning incense, turning down the lights, and just letting us know, okay, it's time to calm down. Just also, like, we didn't just grow up on hip hop and R&B. We grew up on Indian music. We grew up on African music and reggae and
nobody want to plant the con.
Exactly.
Everybody want to read the bond. Yeah, but go ahead.
Yeah, but also, like, and we like, unfortunately, there's a lot of kids that aren't getting to be kids and to enjoy that moment.
And that's, you notice that
we got to enjoy that moment.
You notice that when kids are jealous of us and we're jealous of them because they got more than us. They got the toys, they get the car.
We got to be kids, and we got to, and we were doing. And the thing is I'm not.
And mom showed us love,
right? Exactly. And another thing is, like, we had, me and you, we had just like an imagination that was like, we were doing skits and coming up with our own shows and all this stuff.
Playing Spy Kids
and all of this stuff, way before like YouTube or way before people were doing
if we were, oh my boy.
If we just had a camera,
we'd have been killing it.
It would be nothing. We came up with our own characters and then bring in characters we love and we appreciate it.
In our head, it's really real too.
So,
all right, we didn't even get to talk. All right, so just give me a couple of your top 5 music artists real fast, and then we're gonna start wrapping it up because I know it's getting a little. I know I should have booked it for 2 hours. I knew this would happen, but go ahead.
So top 5: Monica, Brandy, Bob Marley, Kanye.
I was about to say, ain't no fucking way you about to leave Kanye off that list.
Kanye, and then just lastly, right now, I would say like Jadena.
Okay, I'm not mad at that. All right, and there's so much. I'm trying to fit this all in this last 5 minutes. Okay, because you introduced me to a lot of shows. I remember we got to tell the story. We had this little box, like this little like mini TV. One of our neighbors had gave us because my mom was real prevalent on no TVs. And at the time, we were too young to be worried about phones. You had introduced me to South Park, something you know you should not have been watching. And I caught you like dumb late night watching some wild shit. I'm like, what the hell is little black and white TV? So talk about that a little bit. And it shows you everybody is Chris, Bernie.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Saturday cartoons. People don't know the struggle.
Exactly. So, like you said, we had this little black and white TV, and on that little black and white, this was our thing. We would watch Monday Night Raw. Like we wouldn't miss it. And like, you know, this was wrestling. We would watch Monday Night. This is because this was what was on that TV. We would watch Monday Night Raw, and we would watch like Everybody Hates Chris, the Bernie Mac show. We would watch My Wife and Kids.
All the shows that no cable.
Right. And then on top of that, we would watch like the only competition shows we watched was Monday Night Raw, and then we also watched America's Next Top Model.
Yes, we did.
Heavily, and like State, you'd be into it. And same thing with Monday Night Raw, didn't miss an episode.
Then do you remember the Saturday morning cartoons with Shaolin Showdown?
Yeah, Shaolin. Yeah.
That's the one that stands out the most.
Right. But back and before, when we were at Dad's house, we would watch like Batman. We would watch all the Batman.
Cartoons, Scooby Doo,
and then we would watch late night, and this is first like anime I've ever seen. We would watch like Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball, and all. See, the thing is about anime, it would come on like 12 o'clock at night.
Yeah, Toonami. Yeah.
So yeah.
All right, yeah. All right. Of course, there's so much more I want to ask, and so much more that needs to be talked about. I feel like we didn't dive into our childhood like a little bit more. Like we could have talked more about the Belsuri community weekends that Kennywood picnics we would go on and stuff like that, and even family. Like, there's so much to talk about and so much things we didn't dive into. I apologize if I forgot anybody's name in this episode and shouting them out. But one thing I do want to let everyone know is like there's sometimes I can't even come to my mother. I can't come to my pops. Like I can't come to friends or anybody, but I can always come to my brother. And when I say come to I come to him, talk about my problems. He actually listens, actually gives me feedback, and we've come from the same area in the same place, so we know how it feels. And I always can come to you. I always can ask you for anything, and I want to let you know, like on camera, like the fact that I can do that because I see other people's relationships with their brothers, and we only fought once. I lost. I lost.
But yeah, there was we're not going to belabor it, but there was the point where we was not getting along. We was being.
But that was like a section of our life. Every other part of our life, we like this just because we have to. Like, just because we have to. There was times I stick up for you. There's times you stick up for me. But one thing I say is like, we just had to. Like, we didn't even talk about the fact that we was in Boy Scouts, like, and Camp Gasuda. And
we want to get a part 2. So,
all right. Any questions for me, real fast?
I'm not really a question. I just want to say I'm very, very, very proud of you. Very, very proud. This is an amazing show. Man,
this man was like, he is like, man. At first, it was like, I want to be on episode. And then I come over on my mom's anniversary, and he goes, I need to be on episode of Pittsburgh Chatter.
I was like, no.
I was like, no, I'm about to make a Pittsburgh Chatter look for the conscious.
I don't want
I want to be on Pittsburgh.
So I'm just really proud of you, and congratulations, and I'm happy to be here.
I appreciate you. I'm definitely going to bring you back on because I'm going to probably do another episode with you, and then probably do one with me, you, and Kadeem. Sound good?
That sounds good.
All right, I appreciate you showing up.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Absolutely.
It's a wrap. All right. So